What's up? What's up? What's up? So, for everyone that's watching, everybody that's about to tune in, this is as always on Friday nights. It's the tag team champs of interactive sports talk. Now, with me this week, we have a sub tag team champ, but we're still gonna get it in for you guys. This is my buddy Ian McClintock. Ian, tell
Yes,
everybody a
sir.
little bit about yourself, man.
Hey guys, so my guy Cool over here said, my name's Ian McClintock, based here out of Colorado. So pretty avid Colorado everything sports fan, but I mean definitely follow the NFL, follow just about every sport pretty religiously. So just getting started in media school, so slowly getting better on the ones and twos over here. So hopefully here pretty soon you'll stop seeing my kitchen in the background over here, and it'll be a nice, pretty green screen here. But yeah, no, otherwise, I think I'd like to call it the fabulous Freebird rule, tag team champs, but I'm just that
Absolutely.
random third guy that just hides in the background every now and then.
Hey, it works for me, man. It works for me. And just for everyone who's watching, we always do it a little different when it's just me. Y'all may know. But we still need to remind everybody who we are real quick.
Oh,
The
play
Playcallers. So as we alluded to, a little bit of juicy things going on here. But the main thing we're going to be talking about tonight is NFL football is back
yes, sir. Came back in
on
a big way
Sunday.
last night.
A huge game yesterday, but on Sunday we're getting a full schedule of NFL games. Well, between Sunday and Monday, so very exciting time of the year. We've had the off season. We've talked about it. We've talked about it on the show. Now we actually get a chance to go in and see football being played. The best thing about the off season is talk. Right, we look on paper. This team looks better on paper than this team. This is that. This is that, and all that good stuff. But now it's not paper anymore. It's actual game time. So we'll be discussing actual matchups, actual teams. 53-man rosters are set. People got their fantasy drafts done. So now we're in the mode of show me what's going to happen, right? Last night I think was a big surprise. So that's definitely the first thing we're going to hop into. But just want to shout out everyone who's watching. Um, please make sure you share the show, like the show, subscribe to the show. Um, Always, we're very interactive for those who may or may not have watched before. So please, and I say please, drop those comments, and we'll definitely be discussing several things that I think you'll want to get on and be part of the conversation. So, Ian, we'll start off here talking about this massacre that happened last night. Uh, what's crazy for me about it is it started off as a pretty solid game, right? Some big plays on both sides. And then it seems like the end of the third quarter and the fourth quarter, it's like the Rams just gave up. I just
Yeah,
don't really know what happened, but it was crazy. What are your
yeah.
thoughts, man?
I mean, honestly, I actually had this game going to Buffalo. I had Buffalo 33, LA 28. I thought it was going to be a lot more of an offensive juggernaut type game, with the Rams coming off that high, dropping the banner, having Jay Belvin, do the pregame show, having Ozzy doing the halftime show. I just thought that there would have been a little more motivation. But Josh Allen just showed the world what Josh Allen shows the world most, is that he's ready to go 100% of the time, all the time. I personally think part of it was, the fact that the first string team in Buffalo did at least get that game against Denver, got a couple series in. Where LA, they've always been the trendsetter as far as, just continuously resting their starters. Don't risk the injuries or anything like that. But when you have Cam Akers coming back from an injury, those reps probably could have helped him. All the different rookies, all the different, linemen that they had to throw in, you know, I think it personally would have helped them in the long run had they gotten a few of those reps in. But at the same time, when you got Von Miller looking like, prime Denver Bronco Von Miller again, starting the game, 2 sacks, 3 TFLs, 4 tackles all night. And the Rams are sitting here saying, oh, he's washed up. He can't do it anymore. We're not going to re-sign him. Buffalo took that shot, and it's already paying dividends. Buffalo's not even at 100%, and once again, Buffalo didn't punt again. Their only drives got stopped because of turnovers. So, yeah, I mean, Josh really only had one bad throw all night. The other one bounced off McKenzie, and the other two were fumbles. You fumble 4 times or turn it over 4 times, and you're still winning by 3 touchdowns. That's alarming if you're the Los Angeles Rams defense, but that has got to be a godsend if you're on that Buffalo side.
Yeah, for me, another thing is the offensive line of the Rams. I mean, you kind of alluded to it, but the offensive line of the Rams looked like the Bengals' offensive line last year. That was horrible. And a quarterback like Stafford, if that's all you're going to give him, that's going to be a long, and I mean very, very, very long week for you.
Yeah.
You can't, you just can't not protect the guy who needs the protection. He needs the time to throw. He's coming off of the elbow surgery. I unfortunately had to pick him up in one of my fantasy leagues because I was so busy drafting other players that I just said I was going to take a chance at quarterback.
Right.
And through 1 week, it didn't look like a good chance, but it's only one game. Is the best part about it. I like the fact that after the game, McVay was talking about how it's his fault he didn't have the team prepared. But at the same time, I find it a little alarming because I'm thinking to myself, this is the first game of the season. You're the reigning and defending Super Bowl champs. You should be prepared for everybody's best shot. So how are you not prepared for this Buffalo team? So that kind of struck me as a little bit strange. What you think about that, man?
Yeah, no, I mean, McVay absolutely hit it right on the head. The play calling just wasn't there 100%. Yeah, you had all that momentum going into halftime, and you come out, and it doesn't help when Cam Akers, who everybody thought was going to be the main workhorse, gets 3 touches for 0 yards. That's a problem, and I think, I think it was Darrell Henderson ended up with like 43 or 47 yards. They just couldn't get that game going, and eventually, the defense had to be able to stop Josh Allen. And credit to McDermott. He absolutely game planned perfectly, getting the runs to the outside, bringing that defense and that secondary in, and then eventually hitting them on the long ball. And that's exactly what we saw all night. I think I maybe saw 5 runs from Singletary up the middle the entire night. So, I mean, they obviously planned for Aaron Donald, tried to avoid him as much as they could, and look what happened. They played to their play call perfectly. And the Rams, they simply had no answer. They lulled them to sleep with the short passes and the little runs, and I get it. Josh Allen can run, but you still have to be aware of that deep threat, and they just didn't respect it.
Right. Yeah, and I think also we saw a lot of Josh Allen just having a lot of time, feeling comfortable, able to make plays. The big breakaway touchdown by Stephon Diggs late in the game. A lot of people have ran around and talked about how Jalen Ramsey got torched. Jalen Ramsey did get burnt just because of how the play turned out. But if you look, it does look like he's expecting to have safety help. So he's just kind of jogging, running, and then he's like, okay, passing him off to the safety. And he's like, oh, crap, no safety. So he's, sprinting, attempting to catch up. But there wasn't really a way for him to be able to catch up to that once Stephon Diggs got that breakaway on him. But I do feel like just throughout the whole game, not one play, but Jalen Ramsey, I don't think he looked horrible, but he didn't look like a elite corner in this game.
Yeah.
And I'll say that just overall. And I don't think he still has that same hunger, at least for this game, he didn't, that he had, in a couple of the previous seasons. So we'll see how that continues. I mean, anybody can have an off game. It's the first game. And as you talked about a few moments ago, they didn't play a lot in the regular season. In the preseason. And when you don't play a lot in the preseason, you don't have the consistency. Like you said, Cam Akers, not really a factor. A lot of people drafted him high. Sorry for you guys. But the Rams have never actually really used their running back as they should. So I'm not surprised that they continue to do that. They'll run Darrell Henderson probably more just because he's going to be more in the flow because he isn't coming back from injury. He isn't a young player that, got hurt. He's more of a veteran guy. So I think he'll get more of the carries, at least at the beginning of the season. I think the Rams, I wouldn't say they're in trouble, but they need to really wake up and realize that, hey, the blueprint's been set. And then, like, you think about Aaron Donald. Aaron Donald did not have the type of game he had because he didn't have a Von Miller or an equivalent type of player on the other side. When all you have to do is say, focus 2, maybe 3 people on Aaron Donald, and then everybody else is stoppable. I mean, it's very easy to for most offensive lines and most offensive coordinator and line coaches to be prepared for that. So you've got to find out a way to get other guys on that line that are going to pressure and attack the ball, and make the other teams feel pressure, especially on the run and the pass. Because if not, this is going to be a long, horrible season to be a Rams fan or a player on that team.
Yeah, absolutely. And the thing is, even with Ramsey, he's still one of the elite corners of the game. But the entire game, when he was targeted or was the main defender, he allowed 6 of 7 completions, like 120 some odd yards, and 2 touchdowns. I forgot who said it, but he allowed a perfect passer rating against him in that game last night. So, but like you said, I think it's an anomaly as well. I still expect the Rams to easily handle the NFC West. It just wasn't what they needed to do coming out the gate.
Yeah, you wanted to at least, I mean, it's not necessarily the win or the loss. It's just the way that they performed that kind of had you like, come on, Rams, you got to be better than that. And that's, as an NFC team myself, an Eagles fan, I'm not upset that they lost the game. But if I'm looking at it from the perspective of, just a football fan, so putting my own team love aside, just looking at it as a football fan, I'm thinking to myself, that was ugly. That was very ugly. And hopefully in the future, we will get a better just contested games, right? If your team is, you want to walk around and brag about, and the fans have been doing it all off season, we're the Super Bowl champs, and we got better. We got Allen Robinson, blah, 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 blah. I think he got, 3, maybe 4 even throws in his direction this game. This was a Cooper Kupp game.
2 targets.
Was it 2? Oh.
2 targets, and his only catch was that very last one. He got one catch for 12 yards. His second one was the pass that went over his head at the end of the game. I mean,
that's right, because a couple of throws I thought when him were actually interceptions that were tipped off somebody different. But not a lot of targets for Allen Robinson, and you brought him in to kind of be that second guy. Got to get him more involved. Higbee has got to catch the ball. Like, what in the world was Higbee doing? There's a lot of drops.
Those hands were only for decoration last night, in my opinion. But I mean, I think you're right. But I think another part of it was Stafford's comfort level. Because he got super comfortable with Cooper Kupp over the last season. Kupp obviously still getting his numbers, the 13 catches for 100 and the touchdown that LA got. But when you bring in a big signing like Allen Robinson, who's been a one on other teams, he's still a big body. You expect him to be more of a Robert Woods type, and you only look at him twice in an entire game. That's a bit problematic.
Yeah, you've got to be able to, kind of focus on the whole team and make your team better. And I think I said all last season, I don't really believe in Stafford. I don't think he's a horrible quarterback. I just think he's a middle-of-the-road quarterback. I think he's like a 12 to 15. I think he's a guy that he can help you win games, but he's never going to lose games for you. In Unshakable Habits, Stephen Box, this is my favorite sports show. Well, thanks, sir. Since you're on it most weeks, it should be your favorite sports show.
Shoot, that's the other half of the 4 horsemen right there.
And we're going to add in, guys, another football aficionado here. We got Sam Shady from Shady Sports. Sam, what's going on?
Not a whole lot. How you guys doing?
We're doing well, man. We're doing well. Just hanging out here a little bit, talking some NFL. We're in the middle of discussing the Rams and Bills game last night. Any thoughts on that?
Yeah, actually, a lot of people think that's going to be the preview to the Super Bowl matchup eventually. And quite honestly, I expected it to be a lot closer game. When I actually popped on the score, at first it was like 10-10. I missed like the middle 2 quarters of the game, and then all of a sudden I popped back on in the 4th quarter, and it was like 31 to something. I'm like, wow, all right, that came out of left field, because I mean, like, the Rams have a legit defense. I didn't expect that to be a game Buffalo was going to walk away with by any stretch.
Yeah, and I think, like me and Cool were saying, I think we were both expecting it to be one closer to a lot more high scoring. But Buffalo, they just seized momentum every chance that they could. Still, again, got to keep emphasizing the point. Another game where Josh Allen does not have to get off the field and hand it over to the punter. That's huge in today's game.
Yeah, definitely, man. There's a lot of exciting things that happen in the game as far as if you're on the Buffalo end. If you're on the Rams end, you're happy if you have Cooper Cup in fantasy. Outside of that, you're probably not happy after halftime because even earlier in the second quarter, you just kind of saw it just looked like it was starting to unravel. So, hopefully moving forward, we'll get more out of the Rams. We'll see the reigning and defending champions more and not this team that showed up this past Thursday. Really weird. I would think you would come out with more energy, but they just didn't.
Yeah, no, they came out completely flat-footed. Everybody says it's a Super Bowl hangover, and I mean, I'll give it to them for this week. But if we continuously see performances like this where Stafford's really only looking at Cup in the passing game, then I think we have a bigger issue in Los Angeles than people will lead on.
My thoughts exactly. Any other thoughts from you, Sam, on this one? May take a minute to get Sam on. But yeah, guys, so make a long story short, it was great to see a game. The first half was really competitive, but once you got into about halfway through the third quarter, really the second half and whole, but definitely halfway through the third quarter, that was not a game you really wanted to see. So hopefully, again, we'll get better games this weekend. And also one other thing, so we were going to talk some college football. Honestly, we really were. But to be 100% truthful with you, we looked through the schedule here, and there's just not a lot of exciting games this weekend. If you wanted to talk about something in particular, you've got the Alabama-Texas game. They're going to be both in the SEC together. But, I mean, Alabama should wipe the floor with them. Like, honestly, it's not going to be, close.
Yeah, that's a 20-point one for Alabama going away 100% hands down.
Yeah, and then you got Tennessee and Pittsburgh.
Yeah, I mean, it's two teams on the come up. Pittsburgh obviously coming off that ACC championship high. Especially just really narrowly escaping West Virginia in the backyard brawl in week 0. And then you got Tennessee who's sitting here like, okay, yeah, we're gonna do great. We're gonna do great. You still got to go play Alabama. You still got to go play Georgia. You still got to go play LSU. So enjoy it while you can, Volunteer Nation. But I mean, I'm not jumping out of my seat. I'm not running to my couch to catch that one.
Yeah. There's 2 other games. One of them may be a little interesting. Another one is Kentucky and Florida. Florida's a team that surprised last week. You had to win. I think a lot of people counted them out. Kind of surprised how high they got from just one win.
Yeah.
To go from unranked to 12, that's pretty unprecedented. That's a big major move. So my question about that game, of course, obviously your thoughts on it, but let's say Florida loses this game. Where do they end up at next week?
Yeah, I mean, that's the one thing with the committee I've always kind of had issue with. Because, I mean, heck, you have Notre Dame, losing a top 5 game, but still taking an L, and they only dropped to number 9.
Right.
But then you get Oregon, and bless their heart, they tried, but they get smacked all the way down to number 24. So, I mean, why aren't they unranked, but yet a team that's unranked who beats number 7 jumps all the way to number 12? It just seems like there's a lot of inconsistencies with it. I understand that they want the top teams to be at the top. Sure, fine. I'll give you Bama, Georgia, Ohio State, Clemson, Michigan, whatever.
Yeah.
But you have to stay consistent with it. Like, the way I see it, Ohio State's the only team with the top 5 win right now. What did they do exactly to lose the number 2 spot? I can't defend that. So, but granted, I'm not a coach poll. I'm not part of the AP. I'm sure there's a whole vetting process that they look at that we don't as fans, but I don't know. It'll be interesting to see. But, I mean, Florida, talking about the game, Anthony Richardson's definitely, at this point, I wouldn't be surprised if some people are starting to write him in slowly as the dark horse starting to get into that Heisman conversation, especially if he has another game like he did last week.
Yeah. And then there is one maybe interesting game if you're up late enough to see it.
Mm-hmm.
And that's going to be Baylor and BYU.
Mm.
So that's 9 versus 21. So that is like a later game that may be slightly interesting if if you're a college college football person. But Baylor is a team. They're in the top 10. Still questionable who they are. What they're going to be. Still in the season, so still time for them to kind of turn things around. But this is a game that they need to really win if they want to hang around in that conversation. BYU is by no means going to be an easy out. So that's going to be an interesting one just to see how that plays out.
Yeah, absolutely. And the only downside for BYU is I think it just broke about an hour or two ago that they're going to be without their top 2 wide receivers for that game. So Baylor, I'm sorry, you really don't have many excuses anymore. If you're going against a top 25 team who's down their top 2 weapons, you should be able to walk away with this one. But, that's just my personal take on it. Always inconsistencies in college. Yes, there is. Yeah. There always is. But then again, that's why we've always worried about, the BCS or originally the 14 playoff, but soon to hopefully be the 12 team. There's always going to be the why not us crowd. So,
right. You had I had to call it the bullcrap system.
Yeah.
You had that. Gregory has Baylor winning. So, I think I agree with that. And then Mr. Unshakable Habits himself apparently beating the brakes off a top 11 team is more impressive than beating another top 5 team by multiple scores.
Yeah.
Apparently so, sir. Conference plays a part in that too, but that's a whole nother conversation that we can have a different day.
Yeah. And again, going back to it, you did it. But I wonder if they're just looking at how explosive Georgia was. To beat a top 12 team by 46 on a neutral site, I think they might have been looking at that as well, compared to 11-point win top 5. I think, if I'm in the head of the committee, I could see where you could put Georgia ahead, but this early, if you were going to do that, you should have just had Georgia at 2.
Yeah, I think that it's the SEC bias. Me and my coach talked about it several times. It's the SEC bias. Whatever SEC does things, even if it's similar to someone else or less or a little bit more, it's treated so much more like. And then Mr. Unshakable Habits himself puts neutral in quotation marks.
Call it an away game from Athens, Georgia to go 45 minutes to Atlanta. Stop that.
Yeah, that's definitely not what I would consider a neutral site either. So we do have Sam back here with us, and we're going to go ahead and hop into the schedule. Maybe some little breakdowns here. We got a little time. Like I said, this week we're just doing a conversation. We're just talking mainly NFL. We slid in a little bit of college for you guys that are watching that, so you can make sure you check out us here every week. We'll give you a little tidbit of college football, maybe a little bit more. You never know. But we'll hop into those 1 o'clock games. And we'll start with the Saints at the Falcons. So we're going to let Sam tell us first. Who do you have in this game, Sam, and why?
Oh, man, this is a tough one because I think both these teams have a lot of questions about them, particularly at the quarterback position. But with that being said, I think New Orleans is definitely the team that's going to come out on top in this one.
Yeah. I follow suit with that. I've got the Saints taking this one. Jameis being in that system a little bit longer, I would trust Jameis over Mariota, who's really coming into a whole new system. Atlanta's still rebuilding. Yes, you did go out and you got Drake London. And yes, you have Kyle Pitts. But beyond that, I just don't know. When with the Saints, kind of what you're getting. Because Michael Thomas is going to be back. Chris Olave, the rookie out of Ohio State, he's going to be there. Oh, and Kamara, who I guess, may not be getting suspended at all, he's going to be live action too. So I just think there's going to be too much firepower on the New Orleans side. So give me the Saints.
Yep. So my co-host was gracious enough to go ahead and give me a list of his picks for the week. So he did choose the Saints as well for the win here. And I'm going to make that 4 for 4. And guys, everybody watching in the comments, if you want to go ahead and throw out who you think is going to win the game, feel free to as well. But I'm going to pick the Saints as well. Bottom line is I trust Jameis Winston, the receiving core, and the running back group in New Orleans way before I trust Marcus Mariota, pretty much Kyle Pitts and Cordero Patterson. That's pretty much what I feel like as of this point Atlanta has offensively. So until they have more, I just can't do it as far as trusting them. So that's kind of, where I'm standing on that. We're actually also joined here by someone else here in a minute or two. So we'll get to that when they're here. But yeah, so I think, we all agree clearly the Saints are the team that should win this game. But I do agree with Sam that this is probably one of those matchups that's probably about 60-40 just based on who's playing. Now, another interesting game, I think, just because of the dynamics, you got Baker versus the Browns, all those guys that supposedly did not like breaking the locker room, especially on the defensive side. They get a chance to take his head off on Sunday at 1 o'clock when the Cleveland Browns visit Charlotte and play the Carolina Panthers. So, Sam, we'll start with you again. Who's going to win and why?
This is another tough matchup. Personally, I think it's going to end up on Cleveland.
Looks like Sam's having a little trouble there. I know he's. Oh, there we go. You're back.
David and Njoku. I like the running game. I'll defer to you guys for a little bit till I can get better service.
Cool. All right. So Billy V has the Falcons as his pick for the first game. So he's going against us. And, hey, that's cool. It happens. Mm-hmm. All right. So we're going to also bring in Mr. Mojo himself. Perfect time to bring in a guy who covers one of these two teams. So we're here discussing, the Panthers and Browns game, Mojo, in case you didn't hear that.
Yeah, I heard it. And, of course, I'm going Panthers. I like what they've done with the offensive line. The defense in whatever way was pretty efficient last year. Carolina, that is. In a lot of ways, they were actually better than the offense. Obviously, you're getting CMC back. So I think that says a lot. You got DJ Moore, you got Robbie Anderson out there. I just think, and then you got Baker, who definitely, I'm sure he's just itching for some get back because I think it was a bad split, a bad divorce, So I'm looking at him. I know Nick Chubb was talking a little trash earlier this week, but he really can't affect Baker. So I just think that Carolina has the better defense, and I think they have just as much offensive power as Cleveland, probably more considering what are they starting Joe Flacco. Joe Flacco is not known to be a ball slinger. He usually throughout his career has had a team that had a prominent running game. So I mean, he can manage a game, but I think Baker has something to prove. So I'm going Carolina all the way.
Yeah, actually,
it's Jacoby Brissett.
Yes, Jacoby Brissett. That's starting.
With whoever, that guy. Brisket. Jacoby Brisket. I'm just calling Brisket.
Yeah, he's the guy you're referring to is actually with the Jets. He's not
the Jets. I knew he was playing somewhere this week.
No, I mean, looking at this matchup, and because I've always been a betting guy, and it's been weird because over the last 24 hours, it has gone, from 2.5 favorites to Cleveland to 2.5 favorites for Carolina. And now I think it's a 0.5-point favorite for Cleveland. So I think even the pros that are trying to figure this game out, they can't figure it out. Because, kind of like our guy Mojo down here said, Baker's got a whole new system. You've got DJ Moore. You got Robbie Anderson. You have a healthy CMC. Carolina's offensive line did get a little bit better through the draft. But, looking, top to bottom, Cleveland overall, I still believe still has a better roster, put them up side by side, except for maybe, currently the quarterback position and probably the running back position. Everything else you could probably give a nod to the Cleveland side. So, me personally, this has probably been the toughest game that I've had to pick just for this week, simply because there's so many unknowns on both sides. But I think I'm going to go with Mojo's team. I think I'll take Carolina, but it's going to be a close game.
Yeah. So I'm definitely on the fence on this one. I mean, I'd agree. I think Cleveland's better. I think, but when you look at running back, you look at the combination of backs that Cleveland has. The third running back, Dearness Johnson, really could probably start on half the teams in the league right now. And Kareem Hunt, we already know about him. And those are the backups. That's not even the starters. So when I look at this game, I think we're going to come down to, in order for Cleveland to be successful in this early part of the season, the first 11 weeks, they're going to need to run the ball. They're going to need to work on a short passing game and do the things that Jacoby Brissett is good at. He's not a deep down the field passer. But yeah, I'll actually go ahead and throw Billy V's comment up here because it actually kind of goes in what I'm saying. He says, I'm taking Chubb or CMC all day, every day. So my thing is, I think you look evenly, Chubb, CMC, I mean, they pretty much kind of balance out. But when you look at the guys behind them, I think you definitely clearly see, for me, a strength going to the Browns. And I think when you have a guy that has times where he's been a starter, he has experience doing that, but at the same time, he normally ends up losing his job for some reason because he's not your long-term solution. I definitely would have to agree the Panthers have the better quarterback. I think there's going to be a revenge factor for Baker Mayfield. I think he's going to come out and have one of his better games of the year because he wants to beat Cleveland. But I just don't see how they're going to be able to beat Cleveland with all the offensive weapons that Cleveland has. Now, I have this game something like, 21-17. So I have it very close. I don't have it as a blowout as all, but I'm going to go with Cleveland.
Okay. Yeah, and I mean, I don't think you're wrong in that. Like I said, I think just with the checks and balances between the two teams, I think it's just going to be a very even game. And like I said, I'm taking Carolina, but I could definitely just as easily see it going to Cleveland either way.
And my co-host is picking the Panthers.
Okay.
So we're differing on that. It's not a surprise. That happens most of the time. And I forgot to preface my picks by saying these are picks surely to go wrong because I'm picking them. So
I really think a week ago I had Cleveland, seriously. So it's just like, like you're saying, it's been that kind of week or a few days with these two teams. It's kind of hard to pick them. I think the quarterback play is going to be critical. Yeah, Cleveland can run the ball, but Carolina wasn't terrible against the run last year. So the defense is it could be very well be a different defensive game. Like you say, not a blowout, nobody scoring 40 points. But
I don't think either offense.
Quarterback play and defensive prowess should determine this game.
Yep. And now to the next game. So I'm going to go ahead and let everybody know it's the 49ers and the Bears. I don't need to look at my co-host picks to know he picked the 49ers for this game. So I don't even need to look. So we're going to go ahead and put that out there. He definitely picked the 49ers. So, Sam, it sounds like you're the better area now. Tell us who's going to win this game.
See, you throw it to him, you think he's in a better area, and he ain't nowhere.
Sam, I think you're on mute, bro, if you're talking.
Hit the little red button. Huh?
No. What we got now? Okay. All right, Mo. We'll go to you. We'll come back to Sam.
Boy, this is interesting because I want to say the Bears just because I'm a 70s baby, but no, the 49ers handily, I think at that. I just don't see the Bears having enough to stop the 49ers or enough to answer. In the same token. It shouldn't be a very much of a challenge for the 49ers. Expectations are that, especially the way they're being ranked right now and in the NFC, they should come out and win easily. But that's why we play the games. So we'll see.
Yeah. Yeah, definitely. I mean, I think we're all going to be taking San Francisco on this one. I think the last line I saw was San Fran by like 7 or something like that. And, I'd probably boost that up to 10. But, it's also really going to be the first big time, I guess, feel for Trey Lance, finally getting that start, seeing how much does Kyle Shanahan really trust in him because, when most teams, quarterbacks get that captain badge, because they're touching the ball 60 plus times a game. Trey Lance is the starter. He didn't get the C. So it'll be interesting to see, if Kyle Shanahan does go a little more conservative. But yeah, no, San Fran's got way too many weapons. You still got Debo, he re-upped. You got Ayuk, you got Kittle, you got Elijah Mitchell. And on the Chicago side, you've got Montgomery and Mooney, and an O-line that is not going to protect Justin Fields because the Bears didn't do anything to help that. So, I hope Justin Fields got some good insurance on those knees this year. But, San Francisco far and away.
Yeah, and for me, definitely San Francisco. I mean, there's a lot of questions with Trey Lance. There's a lot of questions with the offensive line from San Francisco. Kittle may not play. I don't think any of those things are going to matter because, like you said, Justin Fields doesn't have a good line. Justin Fields is still, young in his career as well. So this is not like he's playing against Tom Brady in his first game. He's playing against Justin Fields. These are two young guys that still both have to develop, have to learn how to play the quarterback position in the NFL. I liken Fields to like Jalen Hurts was last year. He had a few games he started last year, but not really impactful, right? They were already out of it. The coach was horrible. So I feel like this is kind of pretty much Justin Fields' rookie year as far as games played as well. So, I mean, I don't see a big difference. So I think that we look at San Francisco's defense, the fact that they're going to have a better running game. One of the things I do always say about San Francisco, and I hate to have to say this because my co-host is a 49ers fan, but they always seem to be very good at running the ball. No matter who they're playing, no matter where, they always seem to be very good at running the ball. So the thing with that is a lot of times, if you can do it that way, you can run the ball, you can win games, especially when you have a young quarterback that's still learning. And I appreciate that, Shady Sports, for the compliment on the comparison. I try to do what I can, man. Try to do what I can.
No, just traded for Trey Lance today in my fantasy league, by the way.
Oh, man.
Somebody was begging me for Mac Jones, so I was like, sure.
Yeah,
somebody definitely got you
on that trade.
I don't think
I mean, the thing is, you might have won that trade right now, but San Francisco, they opened the season with two, semi-easy tests for Trey Lance. But come week 3, this isn't homer bias. This is the fact that Denver has had a top 5 defense for as long as I can remember. And they like to feast on those rookie quarterbacks. There's a reason that they re-signed Jimmy G, especially for $16 million. You don't pay a backup $16 million for nothing. So, I wouldn't be surprised, if Trey doesn't get rocking and rolling, they pull that cord really quick and Jimmy G's back on the lead.
So I'll tell you this, man. My co-host would vehemently, if he was here, disagree with you for that. He is of the opinion. He's a 49ers fan. We've actually had this conversation, so I know. He would say that, you brought back Jimmy G for less money. You gave him a no trade clause because he essentially had one anyway. These are his words. So I'm just letting you guys know what his words would be on this subject. So the thing is with Jimmy G, you weren't able to trade him before the season started. We'll go ahead and get Greg up here. Your buddy, your fellow Broncos fan.
Hey, there we go, bud. There we go.
Not mad at you, man. You guys are looking a lot better than you have been in years past. Where you can get a solid guy at quarterback, it definitely makes a difference.
Yeah.
But he would say essentially that you brought Jimmy G in, you paid him way less than he would have gotten had he just been on the roster and not had the no trade clause. He essentially had one because they weren't going to send him somewhere he didn't want to go out of respect for what he's done. His belief is that somewhere during the season, they're going to look at it and say, okay, someone's lost a quarterback. Hey, we got this guy right here. Give us some compensation for him. If he walks, we get a 3rd round pick. So we're going to need 3rd or better, or there's no need of us to trade him. We can just let him walk. So I think I partially agree with that. I think if it happens, they'd be fine with it. I think I'm somewhere in the middle between where you guys are. I think that you're going to give Trey Lance every opportunity to be successful. But I think if you get late in games and you're being blown out or you're winning big, I think you're going to get him out and get Jimmy G in just so people can see that Jimmy G is healthy. Because if you can't see that he's healthy, then you're not going to trade for him. So I think that I'm somewhere like in the middle. I think Trey's the guy and they want him to learn. But I think that if you get in a situation where you're up big or you're down big, you're going into the end of the game, you might see Jimmy G pop in and get some reps so you can see that he's healthy, because you got to put him out there if you want to trade him.
Right. Yeah, no,
So, yeah.
I mean, they could definitely flip him as a trade asset, honestly. I definitely believe that Seattle would have went out and got him, but obviously they're not going to trade him to an in-division rival. But,
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, if there's another top-line QB that goes down, I could see a team that, if they're in a playoff position or in the playoff hunt, they could definitely do a deal for that.
Most definitely, man. We'll see how that story plays out over the season. But we've got another 1 o'clock game. We got the Pittsburgh Steelers at the Cincinnati Bengals. What are your thoughts, Mo?
The Bengals if they come out anything like they finished last season, I think they come out hot. Pittsburgh, to me, still has a lot of question marks. No Big Ben. That's going to be interesting. Yeah, Najee Harris is great. But honestly, I don't. And Mike Tomlin, great coach. He finds a way to win, and particularly in his division. But I just don't see them beating Cincinnati. Cincinnati has a lot of firepower. I think if they're anywhere close to what they look like, at their peak form last year, to Pittsburgh, it's just too much for Pittsburgh to deal with.
Yeah, and I mean, if there's really any solace in it, sorry about that. No, it's just, looking at Cincinnati, they didn't do anything to get worse. They shored up that O-line, which has always been, Cincinnati's issue. They went out and got Jesse Bates back. But, Pittsburgh, they've always had a stronger back seven. So really, I think it could come down to the trenches. But, we've tried to say that, Pittsburgh's going to do it. Pittsburgh's going to do it. But look at what happened last year. Cincinnati absolutely walked the floor with them. So, I mean, until I see something different, I'm not going to pick against Joe Burrow. I'm not going to pick against Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joe Mixon. It's a great young core that they're building in Cincinnati, and I just don't see Pittsburgh matching them shot for shot.
Yeah, I'm just going to keep it short and sweet. Me and my co-hosts both agree. We've got the Bengals. Yeah, you've already said the reasons why, but yeah, we got the Bengals. Mm-hmm. All right, and then we'll move on to, for me, the game of the week. The most improved team in the NFL.
The Homer pick.
The Philadelphia Eagles. And then Greg also agrees with us on the Bengals. But yeah, the game of the week. The Philadelphia Eagles and the Detroit Lions. Billy V, if you're still there, you got to talk to us. But we're going to start with you, Mo. Let us know.
Let me give you a healthy dose of AJ Brown in the first quarter, a nice little sprinkling of Devontae Smith in the second, and then maybe close it out with a little quiz and in the third, and then maybe we'll throw Miles Sanders a little rushing touchdown in the fourth. I'm predicting a blowout in this one in particular. I have no reason not to. I think last year it was 40-something to 10 or something. So I don't see how Detroit has significantly gotten that much better, and the Eagles have gotten significantly better. So blowout. I called it fly. Eagles fly. Oh, sorry about that. Go on Eagles.
And the thing is, in the back of my head, I want to say Eagles, but there's that little part of me that's sipping on that Dan Campbell breaking knees Kool-Aid from Hard Knocks. So, I mean, if there were ever going to be an upset, if everybody wants to stand that Hard Knocks Kool-Aid, go for it. But
if there's a trap game to be had, this is the one. Is that what you're saying?
I mean, out of all the games this week, honestly, this could very well be it. But, kind of like what Cool was saying, just with as much as they improved, going out, getting A.J. Brown, getting C.J. Gardner-Johnson, keeping Hassan Reddick.
Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, Hassan Reddick. Everybody seems to be very 50-50 on Jalen Hurts. So, I honestly think Jalen Hurts is going to take that step forward. I don't think it's going to be a blowout like a lot of people are expecting it to be. I would say Detroit probably keeps it under 7 points at the end of the day, maybe because of a garbage touchdown, but I'll take Philly too here.
Yeah, definitely taking Philly. I mean, I don't think anybody was ever questionable about that. My co-host is as well. But for me, when I look at it, I simply say this. You talked about the people that you talked about. You also got Jordan Davis, Nakobe Dean, James Bradbury, so many pieces brought in, Kaiser White. And these are all pieces we're talking about the defensive side of the ball. And I think most people would agree that was the side of the ball that the Philadelphia Eagles needed to improve on, as well as a receiver. But for the whole group, I think most people would agree the defense, especially the safeties and linebackers, which we did a good job of overhauling those positions and keeping the guys that were productive and then getting rid of some guys and changing that. But that's going to play a big part in the game. I also agree that I don't think it's going to be a blowout. I think it's going to be close because we are playing another NFL team. It's week 1. You still have a lot of pieces that are new, that haven't played together in a while, especially defensively, a lot of new pieces. So I think you're going to have some communication issues. We're going to have some plays that the Lions are going to get off that they really shouldn't, just because that's how it works. But I think we'll be able to pull out a win here, but I definitely don't see it as a blowout. But I am excited to see, the Philadelphia Eagles back on the field. It's my team, Fly Eagles Fly. You know how I do. You want more information on just them? Catch me on Wednesday nights, 8:30 p.m. Eagles Elite. That's where we go into detail. So here, just going to leave it at that and move on to the next matchup that we got going on here. So our next matchup is going to be the Colts and the Texans. I'm going to go ahead and start this one to just say we got to go Colts. Like, I'm not saying the Colts are great. I'm not saying that they're going to have a good season. But if they can't beat the Texans week 1, then you might as well keep Carson Wentz.
Yeah, I mean, go Damian Pierce, I guess. Let's see what that O-line can do. No, are you kidding me? No, it's going to be Indy. Probably I'm calling this one the lock of the week. Matt Ryan's probably the best quarterback that they've had really since Andrew Luck. It's just there's going to be too much there. And Jonathan Taylor, I'm sorry, as far as I know, he's still one of the top 2 running backs in the league. And Houston didn't get anybody that can stop him.
And Indy's defense is actually not terrible. And so, yeah, I'm all the way on board with that. This is a lock.
Yeah, it's a pretty easy one. All right, so next we got a pretty good matchup here. Still a 1:00 game, but I think it's a really good matchup. We got the Patriots and the Dolphins. What do you got, Mo?
I got Dolphins. Their defense was like top 5 last year. I didn't see them get any worse. They've got a lot of weapons, and New England to me they're not the same. I mean, not that I want to see it, but I think Mr. Belichick, this might be his last hurrah. He might be looking at retirement. I think he's just trying to outlive Brady. At this point, it's like, just go ahead and retire, man, because it doesn't look the same. The team doesn't look the same. Mac, I'm not convinced. The running backs, they've never under Bill Belichick had just a solid running back that this is our guy and we're going to stick to him. So I'm a little concerned about the running back position. Just their offense in general doesn't look nearly as fluid as when Brady was there. And Miami has vastly improved over the last 3 seasons. They look like the team to beat in some aspects in that division. And then you have Mr. Hill down there, so I think he's going to come out and try to embarrass people. So, got Miami 7 or under maybe. I don't know if I don't think it's terrible, but because Belichick does find a way to do some things. So, give him maybe a 6-point spread.
Just want to say real quick, Gregory Miller, man, I'm not mad at you, bro. Broncos, Rams, and hometown Lions. Hey, a lot of people, they talk, when you say I'm a fan of multiple teams, they turn their nose up at you and they talk about how you got to have one team and all that. If you want to cheer for multiple teams, man, do you. I'm a Philadelphia Eagles fan. Never lived in Philadelphia in my life. I get Philadelphia Eagles fans that are from Philadelphia to turn their nose up and like, you can't be a real Eagles fan if you're not from Philadelphia. Know more about the team than you do. So you know what?
Yeah. I mean,
Don't
I'll be
say
the
that.
yeah, I mean, I'll be the first to admit it. Denver will always be my number one, but Buffalo is my number two. And that's been that way ever since I was little. Because my dad showed me football; he was a Broncos fan. My mom had to pick a team. She's from the Buffalo area, so yeah, she picked the Bills. So
So you kind of got like the home thing. You just absorb both. Gotcha.
yeah,
But you'll
yeah,
be happy
but
to know I was a Broncos fan right around junior high school when they had Vance Johnson, Ricky Nattil, John Elway slinging that thing around. Oh my God, I love
the
that.
three amigos.
Three amigos, yes sir.
Let's
Oh,
go.
I was a fan. We used to go out and play at the park, and I'm like, yeah, I'm Vance Johnson.
Yeah, no, he's a really good dude. He's a really good dude. So, but
Yeah.
no, getting back on topic here. The way I see it, I kind of agree with you. With Belichick trying to outlast Brady, but honestly, I think this is probably Belichick's send-off season. And the whole reason I think they went down to Miami on Tuesday is because he wanted to see what that beach life was like and try to find some housing down there. Because the only reason you're going down there is to maybe fight the heat, but it doesn't take you 5 days, especially when you have that same humidity up in Massachusetts as you do down in Florida. But again, you don't need 5 days. And I'm sorry, those players are not sitting on their couches for 4 days before they go play a game. So, call it the South Beach flu, if you will. But yeah, no, I mean, there's just so many questions. I mean, you have a defensive coordinator calling the offensive plays or something like that. Belichick's
Yeah, they don't have an offensive
so,
coordinator this year.
yeah, Belichick's been super ho-hum about, who am I going to put in what positions and things of that nature. And, if he wins and they go far, okay, cool. That may be the new thing, and okay, cool. Let's goat him then. But until I would see that, there's just no way. Tua's arm strength is still an issue to me, but you add Tyreek, you still have Jalen Waddle, you still have Edmonds, you have you have Shell. It's just many weapons. Like run game. So I thought he really went up the run game because I would run too if I was a Patriots fan trying to figure that one out too. It's always been like a law firm back there, with Rondé Moore Stevenson and Damian Harris. It's just it never balances out well. It never has. So give me Miami. They always seem to be a very sore thumb in the Patriots side, especially down in Miami. So yeah, give me the fish.
I just want to say, Gregory, man, anybody who acknowledges Kyle Orton as a Broncos quarterback, as a non-Broncos fan, I can say that there is definitely some love for the team. If that's the guy that you're saying, like, hey, this is what made me a fan of the team, you clearly really like the
Kyle
team.
Orton.
Kyle Orton's nowhere near great. So,
Yeah.
can't knock you for that. Like, for real.
That's not the glory days.
Yeah,
that's not a good. So that's when you came in. People can't really try to pull a fan card on you for that. Now, for me, I'm going to go Miami. To me, this is a very 50-50 game as well. But I think, honestly, and you can quote me on this, Tua's better than Mac Jones. I'm not saying Tua's great, but I think Tua's better than Mac Jones.
Mm-hmm.
And that with the cheetah, because you have the cheetah. And what people need to realize is you're going to see a different Kansas City team without the cheetah. The cheetah is one of those guys that is
difference maker.
It's got to be bigger than that. He is a franchise changer at the wide receiver position, just because of what he does. He's so fast. He commands so much attention that he allows other guys to eat. And you've got another guy there that can eat in Jalen Waddle. You've got Mike Gesicki, who a whole bunch of people are dropping for fantasy for some reason. I'm not, but he's a guy that, he can get some eating off of that as well.
Mhm.
Yeah, I'm not dropping them till at least week 4.
And Shady Sports agrees with Mo on the road to 40. So, hey, I mean, if it happens, I'll take it. I just don't see that, but I do see a win. And then Greg,
A
sorry, Mr.
lot.
First Love.
A
Another
lot of bad years. Yeah,
And then
I
a
was gonna
lot,
say,
yeah,
I was gonna say he
definitely.
brought up Orton, and this little vein right here started popping out. So
Yeah. But the fact that that's where he went to say, like, hey, this is when I started, I can't speak for anyone else, but I have to respect that. Because,
yeah, 2009 was a very rough year
Yeah.
with him at the helm. But
that's
yeah,
tough.
yeah. But
That's
let's
tough.
just put that part behind us.
Absolutely. The next game, guys, I don't think we'll need to spend much time on it all. We've got the Ravens and the Jets. So for me, for that game, my co-host picked the Pats. I forgot to say that. He did actually pick the Patriots in that game.
Okay.
Yeah, he does that sometimes.
Okay.
And then the Ravens and the Jets.
Jets.
So with the Ravens and the Jets, I mean, I'm going to be real quick about it and say Ravens. Lamar Jackson has something to prove this year because he hasn't gotten paid. And I don't think he really cares if he's from the Ravens or someone else. This is the time to make sure that someone else sees you. And I think this is going to be another monster season. I honestly think without getting paid, this is your dark horse MVP. Watch Lamar Jackson. I'm telling you, watch Lamar Jackson.
Yeah, and I mean, I'll watch him. Maybe play for 23 mil. I'll watch him play for a franchise tag for 47 mil. I'll watch him play for another franchise tag for about 53 mil. So, and then I'll watch him go play for the Buccaneers in 3 years. But that's not why we're here. No, but I mean, as far as the game goes,
Spicy take, sir. Spicy take.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I'm here for it, But no, honestly, the Jets. Ooh, I mean, yes, they're starting Joe Flacco, so a little revenge game maybe, but it's the revenge game that absolutely nobody's going to care about unless you're in Baltimore or in the Meadowlands that day. I'm sorry, there's no way that Baltimore screws this game up that badly to take an L on the road.
I think you gotta really give Flacco a little more credit. This is a really big revenge game for him. It's a chance to revive his career, and he's gonna get trashed by the Ravens. Yeah, it's a wrap. He might not make it out of there. Okay.
I mean,
And next, yeah.
I mean, I was just gonna say, Flacco, congrats, you helped him to a title, but nah, man, this ain't it. It's been nice knowing you, but this is it, bud.
And then next we have one of the games that could be a college football game this week, and that's the Jaguars at the Commanders, because it's going to be a game where there's not going to be a lot to be impressed about. A couple of subplots, though.
Yeah.
You've got Doug Peterson
and Juan Rivera,
the Eagles head coach, that won a Super Bowl the year that Carson Wentz, the Commanders, now QB1, was the Eagles quarterback. So this is the first time they'll be meeting on opposite sides of the field. Ron Rivera, a great coach. But when I look at the lineups and I look at everything, I definitely give this game to the Commanders. So
okay.
I want to give the game. I want to give the game to the Commanders.
And my co-host also gives it to the Commanders. Go ahead, Mo.
I want to give it to the Commanders. I think this is one of those games that's really going to come down to which team makes fewer mistakes. I think you're going to see a lot of mistakes. But my biggest, I'm maybe a little biased, but can't trust Mr. Wentz. Just can't do it. Really want to go with the Commanders, but this might be a trap game for them. So I'm about 50-50. I'm going to go Jags.
I mean, I'm more than 50-50. I'm about 70-30, and I'm going to go ahead and take Jacksonville simply for the fact that well, here's the thing. I trust Doug Peterson more than I trust Ron Rivera. I currently trust Trevor Lawrence more than I trust Carson Wentz. Travis Etienne is back, so there's that Clemson connection in the backfield. You got Christian Kirk, who, honestly, yes, he's overpaid, But Jacksonville went out and paid over $300 million in free agency. No team has spent that much money and failed. So, I think that there's a culture change in Jacksonville. I think, honestly, call it another hot take. Watch them be in the playoff hunt until about week 17.
Ooh.
Slowly
So I
sneaking on
actually-
people and just getting those little wins you don't think they should, but because of how good Peterson has coached, how good of a talent Trevor Lawrence we know he can be, it wouldn't shock me if, Jacksonville walks away with a few games they probably shouldn't. But, I mean, in this one, give me Jacksonville. I'll comfortably say I'm on the Jags side for this one.
Dang, look at that.
Well, hey, man, I'll simply say this. Actually, we'll first go ahead and go with Shady Sports comment here. Yes, but you also saw the stretch with Manning. He was born into a Bronco household, became a fan because of McNabb. He roots for the Eagles over everyone. There we go.
Mm-hmm. Shoot,
hey, nothing but love for that because I root for the Eagles as well.
Shoot, back in middle school, I had a McNabb jersey.
Yeah, McNabb was a good.
All right,
he was a good player. But so for the next matchup, because said what we need to say. We'll see how it plays out. I think it's one of the worst games of the week because the two teams are involved, but it may end up being a great game because I think they're on the same skill level.
Right.
We get the Giants and the Titans. So I just want to preface this by saying, I want everyone to know for the next 3 years, Titans are my second favorite team because they gave us A.J. Brown.
Dang.
So Giants and Titans, they're going to Tennessee. We've got the man, the myth, the legend at running back that is a wild, just bowling ball with feet, as one of my guests on my Eagles Elite show did point out to us, and Derrick Henry, the man's man. So I think the Giants are not going to be able to handle that. They're going to lose. They should be better if they can keep Saquon Barkley healthy, but even better doesn't make them a good team, just not as bad.
Yeah, their lineup hasn't shown me anything in years, literally, the Giants, years. Not the quarterback, not the running back. Saquon will probably be hurt in this game at some point. The wide receivers, their names, I'm tired of hearing their names. Like a couple of them retire, please. There's nothing impressive coming out of the Giants, not the camp, not the offseason, like nothing that makes you say, wow, or, ooh, maybe it'll be better this year. No, their defense is trash. Their offense is worse. Yeah, Tennessee.
And my co-host, just want to say real quick, he picks the Titans as well.
Yeah, you definitely got that bad man coming back. I'm sure he'll probably throw a couple people in the memes as he always does with every game that we see nowadays. No, but the thing is, the Giants, I don't expect them to win this game, but I do expect them to put on a better showing than what we have seen in the past, because I think they finally have a competent offensive coach in Brian Daboll. Getting that OC out of Buffalo, trying to potentially unlock something more in Daniel Jones. I know it's a stretch because, Daniel Jones likes tripping over himself. But the thing is, when he's on the run, he's actually faster than Lamar Jackson. So, we could just see that happen. Doubt it'll happen, but, I don't see them being nearly as bad as they were last year. But, this week, give me King Henry, 200 yards, 4 touchdowns.
Ooh,
easily.
I would love to see that.
Easily.
Trust me, my fantasy team would, because I had Josh Allen go off for 30 last night.
Yeah,
I had the Bills defense get 17. I had Cooper Kupp get me 29, and Derrick Henry.
Yeah.
Yes, sir.
I left the Bills defense on the bench in favor of the Browns.
I just want to say, if I could like a comment, I would like this comment. This comment that says hit that like button. Definitely make sure you do that when you're watching the replay. Make sure you hit that like button. Make sure that you subscribe to the show. Make sure you share the show. And Shady Sports also hit us with the Dolphins ad heel because of Tua's arm streaks. They went out and got the Yak King. So no one can argue with the second part of the statement. I don't care how you feel about Tua. You hate him, you love him. You cannot argue with the second part of the statement. They did go out and get the Yak King. As far as the Dolphins ad heel because of Tua's arm strength, I'll say this. I agree, actually. I don't think that Tua has an amazing arm whatsoever, but what Tua does have is enough of an arm to make the plays he needs to play. Is he ever going to be a guy that's going to throw 40, 50, 60-yard bombs? I mean, to me, he's like arm-wise, this makes a lot of people might find this funny, but he's like Nick Foles, right? He can make some of the throws some of the time. He can make a lot of the throws all the time. But where he's going to struggle is the really deep, strong zip balls. Like for him to put it deep, it's got to be some of those like ducks.
Well,
Again,
you got to
Nick
have the
Foles
right
balls.
offensive line too. So
yeah, but I think that
yeah,
the running game that they have,
give him the time to drop and set
the
his
coach
speed,
that they
and you never
have,
know.
they're going to run the ball a heck of a lot because the coach that they have, he was the offensive coordinator for the 49ers. And we all know if you are going to be a coach from the 49ers and you're offensive, you better believe in running the ball a lot. So I think there's going to be a lot of running the ball going on in Miami, and then big plays to those stud receivers. So I think that that's going to be crazy. But I mean, I don't disagree with what you're saying at all, Sam. So
yep. Yeah,
I think
King.
we're
Tua
definitely on
throws
the
it for
same
5,
place.
and Tyreek takes it for 75 more, and Tua
like-
will still get count for an 80-yard pass.
It's
Get
like
out of here
Tom
with that.
Brady. It's just like
They got to
Tom
do
Brady.
something
The
about
dink
those
and
stats.
dunk game.
Tom Brady all over again. All right,
sir.
next, guys, we got the Chiefs and we got the Cardinals. I'm going to simply say Chiefs and leave it at that. You guys can take it away.
Patrick Mahomes. That is all.
I'm a hater, so I'm just gonna go against the grain here. Yeah, no Tyreek, and it's been shuffled up a bit. But Andy Reid, all right, Chiefs. I'm sorry.
If you're going to make Andy Reid the reason you take the Chiefs,
I was trying to
where are you
rationalize
going?
it.
Well, I mean, I will rationalize this. I think this will probably be the highest scoring game of the weekend, simply because Kansas City defense didn't do anything, in my opinion, to get any better. They didn't replace Tyrann Mathieu. Yes, they have McDuffie, but he's a rookie. I need to see him actually play. Kyler can still move around. Hollywood Brown's going to be out there, and
Possibly.
Well, we think he will be out there.
At least as of now, right?
Yeah, we all know things will change Sunday morning, 10:55 a.m. or something random like that.
Right.
But, it's just, I think Kansas City, I just have too much faith in Patrick Mahomes right now. They'll find a way to make it happen. But, I mean, like I said, I would say this game between the two teams, don't be surprised if we see a 50-plus, maybe 60-plus between the two teams.
Yeah. My co-host also picks the Chiefs, so I think we're definitely set on the Chiefs for that. Next up, we have the Raiders and the Chargers. So I'll say my co-host picks the Raiders. I'm actually going to go on a limb, and I'm going to say the Chargers are going to win this game. I think that what's going to make it great for them is give them the chance to go out and show what they've got. They've got a plethora of weapons on offense. Their defense is going to be much better than last year with the signings that they made, even though they lost Kaiser Wright. There was so much talent ahead of him at linebacker that he wasn't going to play in his team, and he's a talented guy. They have a run game. So, truthfully speaking, they've got all the things that you need to be a good team. Justin Herbert is, again, a guy that he doesn't have to be any better than last year. Everybody just has to stay healthy around him, and the defense just needs to be better. And I think that they're going to do that. I think the Raiders are going to stick in this game. I'm a big David Carr fan, to be honest with you, but I don't see them winning it this week. I see this week going to the Chargers.
Okay. Mo, what you got?
This is a rough one. I'm trying to see, where are they playing?
They're in Los Angeles.
Oh, they're in Los Angeles. The Superchargers are the home team.
Are they really the home team, though?
I'm really for this game. I think this game is going to be that close that it really may depend on that 12th fan, that 12th teammate or whatever. The fans may determine this, and I think they're that evenly matched. But yeah, I feel comfortable going with either one. But yeah, I got to go Chargers just because they're the home team. Derek Carr, I think I'm like you, cool. I love Derek Carr. I think he's great. He'll sling that thing around all day, but whether he can get it done on the road against a team that can sling it around just as much as he does, like you say, Herbert doesn't have to get better than he was. Neither one of them have really changed enough to, really say, well, this one is that much better than this team. They're the same team in different cities. So yeah, Chargers.
Yeah. I mean, I'm following up with that, just kind of it being a toss-up because J.C. Jackson is not going to be active for the Chargers. So that's going to open up Devontae Adams or Hunter Renfrow. And, the Raiders' offensive line has always been semi-suspect, whether it be talent-wise or penalty-wise. But, the Chargers, they have so much depth, so much talent everywhere else that I just don't think the Raiders are going to be able to keep up. I think it's going to be a good story, seeing Derek Carr being teamed back up with Devontae from their time at Fresno State. But, I just think there's going to be too much firepower from the Chargers. I think Brandon Staley learned a lot from last year, not being as quote unquote ballsy, with the fourth down calls. I think he regresses on that. But I think Herbert gets better with another year of having Keenan Allen, having Mike Williams, having Austin Eckler back. I just don't see how the Raiders' back seven can contend with that for a full 60. So give me the Chargers, but maybe by like 3 or 4 points.
I can dig that. All right, and we'll move on to the Packers and the Vikings. I have to say this with the utmost of disrespect. The NFC North is a joke. They're a one-pony team every year. The Vikings always get all this praise and love that they're going to be a really great team, and they never actually end up being that good. I'm going to go Green Bay. I know they've made a lot of changes. They don't have Devontae Smith, but the last time that I checked, they're still in the same division, and this is one of those other teams in that division that just really aren't that good. Stat-wise, yeah, it'll probably be a big scoring game because the Vikings don't play much defense. The Packers, they're on and off with defense, so you'll probably get a lot of points in this game, but the majority of them is probably going to come from the Packers.
A la last year. I'm going Vikings.
And my coach is also going Vikings with you, sir.
Yeah, they lost week 1 last year. Aaron Rodgers got a bunch of new people, a bunch of young guys he's throwing the ball to. No Devontae Adams. The running game, I'm sure. I think they're going to come out and try to do something a little different, probably run the ball a bit. Vikings aren't terrible against the run. And the Vikings got a guy
right, just the
over
pass
there that they can't stop. They got a guy in Justin Jefferson that I think Green Bay will have trouble with all game. And of course they got Jalen Reagor, who was picked above Justin Jefferson. So I mean, you can't count these guys out.
Are you making an argument that they're going to win or that they're going to lose with that comment?
They're going to win.
Just checking.
I'm taking the Vikings just because it's so much has changed in Green Bay. I've never been a big Aaron Rodgers fan. Yeah, he makes some big throws here and there, but I'm just not. I'm not on the bandwagon.
Yeah, no, I mean
Stephen A. Smith. The one time I agree with him, or one of the few. Aaron Rodgers is a bad man. You count a bad man, and he's crazy. But when it comes to football, he's a bad man.
My question
got a
is
comment from George Beamer here. I want to highlight real quick.
So
but here's the thing: somebody has the ball out. It could be Lazard.
It won't be him.
All right.
Well, it's going to be hard to be him when he's already said that he's not going to be active here for week 1. Right. So, I mean, Aaron Rodgers, yes, he's a bad man. Yes, he is the back-to-back MVP. And yes, you still have A.J. Dillon. And, Robert Tonyan's coming back off the ACL. But on defense, you have Jair Alexander. Cool. But you're missing a linebacker here named Zadarius Smith.
Yeah.
And last I heard, Zadarius Smith is now donning that purple and gold. So he's going to want a little bit of revenge. Bakhtiari, we're not sure if he's going to be active. So Rodgers' backside may be getting hit a couple more times. But, you also have to stop Dalvin Cook. You still have to account for Adam Thielen, that apparently everybody forgets about, that he's still a very viable weapon in today's game. Yeah, you still have Jay Jetta. Yes, you just add Rager. As much as he didn't do in Philadelphia, he's still another weapon to take eyes off of Jay Jetta. Jair Alexander cannot fly all over the place. He simply can't. And, it's in Minnesota. Aaron Rodgers doesn't have that chemistry. Give me Minnesota. Give me Minnesota.
George Bima actually makes a very factual point. He's a bad man during the regular season.
Yeah.
Last time that I checked, this is a regular season game. So guess what? We're going to see a bad man, no matter who his wide receivers are.
It's going to be a bad time unless he's on that Ayabuska.
Like when you think about it, Lazard is one of those receivers that actually has had opportunity to be that number one and show what he could do. He's been there 3 years and he hasn't done anything yet. What is he going to do now? He is not Devontae Adams by any stretch of the imagination.
Hold up. So you mean to tell me that Lazard had a chance to be a number one receiver when Devontae Adams was there? Come on, man.
Devontae's been out at times. Even when Devontae's been out, he didn't show me anything that was very impressive.
Oh, okay, yeah. See, when Devontae's out, Lazard did not step up to the plate, and I will give you that.
That's crazy.
But here's the thing: there are no ones in Green Bay.
Right,
it's Watson, it's Romeo Doubs. Which honestly, if he plays like he did in the preseason, okay, I'll give you something. But there's no familiarity, and Rodgers is a creature of habit.
You forget there's this one gentleman that's there that may know a little bit of something about Aaron Rodgers. First name Randall, last name Cobb.
Oh, come on, man. This guy's gone and come back.
He is there, and he knows Aaron Rodgers.
On the Cobb, buddy.
Well, here's the thing.
He's there, and he knows Aaron Rodgers, and he made plays here. He was the guy who stepped up when Devontae Adams was out last year. So to try to count him out just because he's left and came back when he has chemistry with the bad man, if that's the way you want to go, cool. But I'm going to just tell you, like I said a minute ago, man.
Okay. But give me Harrison Smith. Give me Andrew Booth Jr. Minnesota reloaded more than people give Minnesota credit for.
Minnesota is good, but see, Minnesota has a problem, and his name is the Black Dak Prescott. I mean, the White Dak Prescott.
Oh, you mean First Cousins?
If you have the White Dak Prescott, you're not going to win a lot of games when you need to score points because
Kirk Cousins is an MVP candidate every year, according to stats. He should be
according to wins and losses.
Conversation.
Definitely not it.
Yeah.
Fantasy purposes, Kirk Cousins is a good guy to have. To want to win games.
He's mid-pack, but I mean, Rodgers, I think we all know that Rodgers will be there in the MVP hunt, but I'm sorry, the MVP's already played this game already this season. So
yeah, it looks great too.
Yeah, he wears that red, white, and blue number 17.
Watch out for purple and black. All I'm gonna say is watch out for purple and black. Shady Sports Network with baby Megatron.
Gotta love it.
That's you gotta love that. That's nothing else you can really say about that. So we'll go on to the Sunday night game.
Who'd your guy pick?
Oh, I didn't say who he picked.
Yeah,
he picked the Vikings.
Okay.
Yeah, he does that. What's this guy
just a little weird stuff,
What is he doing? Like, what I'm
saying?
Type the wrong thing. Whatever. But we'll go ahead and head to that night game. We've got the Tampa Bay Buccaneers versus the Arlington football team. Some of you might know them as the Cowboys, but they're the Arlington football team.
You want to know who wins this game?
I'm gonna let you go first.
Cool. My bottle of Jack Daniels.
Bang!
That's who's winning this game.
Yeah. Because mind if we share,
Trust me, I'll send you a handle.
Hey,
No.
My least favorite team and my least favorite player playing
Yes.
against each other. Like,
Yes.
wow, how good can it get? Woo!
Y'all know who's losing this game? All the NFL fans, because it's the Sunday night game. That's who's losing.
Yeah, why are they prime time? I'm so mad about it. But
Simply because it is Tom Brady going into his 23rd year.
And America's team.
Yeah, and America's team that hasn't been America's team since 1995, but that's a whole nother conversation. But no, I mean, up and down, last year Tampa Bay was favored by 9. They won by a field goal. This year they're only favored by 2.5. Tampa Bay's O-line has been absolutely massacred during training camp in the preseason. Chris Godwin's not going to go. But Dallas, I mean, who does Dak have other than CeeDee Lamb? Kevontae Turpin?
He's in worse shape.
Yeah, I mean, Turpin's great on special teams. I will give him that. He's the USFL MVP for a reason. The man has talent. We have to respect that. But if Dak can't find anybody, then how do we expect anything new to happen? Because as far as I know, Zeke's numbers are still going down year after year. It's not like that O-line got better because Tyron Smith's out. But they do have Tyler Smith.
They signed Jason Peters, man,
to the practice squad, and he's not going to be up to game speed or game ready until week 4.
Right.
It won't even matter.
So, I mean, I think the one saving grace is that we don't have to hear Joe Buck and Troy Aikman call this game, because we all know that everybody would be going for Dallas at that point. But I've tried to go against Tom Brady his entire 23-year career. I mean, even when my dad passed away, we made a rule at his funeral: come in sports gear unless it's Tom Brady. That's how much our family despises him. But I can't find it in myself to go against him. I've been shown wrong too many times. I've bitten that bullet too many times. Give me Tampa Bay. Give me him by 10.
Me and my co-hosts are both going Bucks.
And
I'll go Bucks by 17.
Ooh.
Okay.
This is the only time you will hear me say, go, Mr. Brady, go. Because I despise that team more than I despise Mr. Brady. So, that being said, he's got a ton of weapons, as usual. He did come out in his press conference last week looking like a 70-year-old lady, which could be a little concerning. Could be a little concerning for some fans, and he's apparently, his wife is beating him up in the back room. She left the house, and so I don't know if mentally he's ready. Like, maybe him and Bill both sign out this year. So this might be the last year for both of them, but I just don't see him coming out week 1 and throwing up a dud against this sorry little other team with the star. So yeah, Bucks.
And gentlemen, we have reached the final one. And my co-host, in case you didn't hear me earlier, also picked the Bucks. The final game of the week.
Yes, sir. Wait, what?
Excuse me, the Denver Broncos. Sorry, I had to scroll to the next week. My bad.
You got me flexing for the Patriots, man. Stop that.
My bad.
Everybody here knows you played that card.
My bad. It was my bad. It's the Denver Broncos and the Seattle Seahawks. My bad there. Yeah, that's my mistake.
No, you're good. I'm gonna go last on this one simply because my team is involved.
I'll say it for you. Russell Wilson.
Lightning's starting to hit around the area. So.
Jerry Jeudy, Cortland Sutton, Williams in the backfield, your defense, your upgraded tight end, right? There is no possible way on this play. This is my lock for the week. This is my stone cold lead pipe, whatever you want to call it, lock. There is no way, and I mean no way, Denver loses this game. Impossible. You cannot convince me. If you're from the future and you come back in time, you cannot convince me that they will lose to that Seattle team. Period.
I've got to remind you about a couple of things. Pete Carroll Number
I
one.
don't care.
And
Carroll
the
was there
12th
last
man, the 12th, their 12th.
12th,
No,
13th,
throw
14th,
that out. Throw all of it
15th,
out.
16th, 17th, 18th,
Yeah, I got the
19th, and
Broncos
20th.
by a ton. Yeah.
Yeah, so I mean, I'm trying to find a way to make this sound not as bad as it's going to. But if we even give up 14 points to Geno Smith, our entire defense is running wind sprints all day Tuesday. No, here's the thing. Like I said on Tuesday in our matchup madness preview, our weakness, I still believe, is our defensive line. So, I could see Rashad Penny getting a few yards here and there. But top to bottom, I mean, you still have to respect DK Metcalf. You do still have to respect Tyler Lockett. But when your quarterback has less wins than our current quarterback, or actually has only 3 more wins in his career than our quarterback has Pro Bowls, I just don't see how anybody outside the Pacific Northwest, unless they're on that Aaron Rodgers drink, can tell me that Seattle is going to do anything spectacular in this game. Unless PS2 goes down, Bradley Chubb goes down, Justin Simmons goes down, COVID hits our team, we end up flying to Vancouver thinking it's Seattle and we have to play replacements. There's no way that I can sit here straight-faced and tell you a way how Seattle wins this. There's no way.
I think he's going with Denver.
Something tells me that he's going with Denver for sure.
It's going to be close. It's going to be close if Denver scores 35 and Seattle only scores like 10.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, no, give me Denver. I said it in the preview show, 33-14. It's going to be a cakewalk, but I don't think that we shut them out. I think, again, I respect DK and Tyler Lockett too much. I still think they'll get some yards, but I do think that PS2 and our secondary will be able to do enough just to contain, and it's going to be a field day for Russell Wilson going back home.
And I want to say, man, Patrick Surtain, second man, what's important and what I want people to understand about this guy, he's still young, so he's still got a ways to go to be who he's going to be in the league. He plays the same position as a very good player that's his dad. So here's the thing that you have to understand about sports. A lot of times you don't want to follow in the footsteps of your parent because they were so good. Surtain was a good corner, but he was not like a dominant corner, but he was a good corner.
Right.
So his dad was kind of like a little bit above average. But that means you got tape to watch your dad. You grew up watching your dad do exactly what you want to do. Think about when you look at second, third generation, like wrestlers and different sports. You have gotten the chance to see from a child how to play the position. You play the position. You've got someone that can coach you every day at the dinner table, at night, on drives to games, on drives from games. You have someone that whenever you may need a little bit of whatever, they're there, they can give it to you. And they were very successful at the position, same one that you played. This is a kid that's been grown for this, and I really liked him, and he was one of the guys I would have really liked to have in that draft. We did get Devontae Smith, so I'm not complaining, but I'm just saying I think he's a really solid corner, and I think he's going to be a great guy in another couple of years. And a lot of people better be put on notice because it might be a Surtain Island coming soon.
Yeah, PS2, he's so good, and at such a young age.
It's crazy.
I forget where I read the stat, but I think there was one game where he got paired up on like 5 different wide receiver ones throughout the year, and they showed like his targets and everything. There was one game, I think it might have been Cincinnati, where they never targeted Jamar Chase when PS2 was on him. That is a statement, especially for a second or third year, second year corner. Like that, not many corners get that. Hell, even Jalen Ramsey, he got picked on yesterday.
He got burnt
yeah. So I mean, it's a testament to his talent. I can't wait to see what he grows into this second year. I hope there's no such thing as a sophomore slump with him. But yeah, no, I wouldn't be shocked if he's ending this year, 6-7 interceptions, and a couple more of those games where the wide receiver one just doesn't get any looks.
I mean, I think he's got the talent to do it, definitely. Like I said, he's one of the guys that I really like a lot.
Yeah.
And not obviously not on my team, but hey, you can't have all the great players. It never works out that way. I think we're pretty good at cornerback, but 3 or 4 years, it may not be the case.
Yeah, I mean, he's definitely our CB1. I wish that we would have gone out and gotten a better CB2. I like what Ronald Darby brings to the table. I just don't trust him as much as I do PS2. That might be another weakness that we may be seeing a little bit, especially on Monday night, Darby against Lockett. But I think there will be times where, if that's the case, we'll see Justin Simmons shade over and help him out on that side.
Absolutely. And so, guys, let everybody know where they can find you. You can go ahead and start Mo, and we'll get up.
You can check me out, Mojo, on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You can check me out on Tuesday nights, Three Faces of Fantasy, 7:30 p.m., and wherever else cool will have me.
Yes, sir. And obviously, as many of you that have followed me, this is still all new to me, but obviously you can find me Tuesday nights here, NFL Matchup Madness, representing the Denver Broncos. Also, you can find me online, gomilehigh.com, Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays for the press box, where we focus a little more on Denver sports, but we do also go national if, it's a slower day in the Mile High City. Obviously, you can find me here wherever Cool's got me plugging and playing as well. But obviously, once we get more ideas up and running, you guys will definitely be in the know. So, yeah.
Absolutely, man. I'll start from Saturday and I'll go backwards. This is my new thing. So Saturday, NFC Beast Show, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Check us out. It's going to be dope. It's going to be a lot of good people. Shady Sports is going to be on there. So it's just going to be crazy. You're going to be able to find it on multiple networks. That's coming really, really soon because we know the season is starting. So that's coming. Tonight, of course, you got me here. Normally joined by my other half of the tag team champions, but we had some feelings tonight, so we still made it happen. On Wednesday nights, so Thursday, I actually have a free day. Can't believe it. On Wednesday nights, Eagles Elite Podcast, 8:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. All Eagles all the time, all interactive, knowledge, fun, wows. That's what we do there. On Tuesday nights, as has already been stated, NFL Matchup Madness. You can find it here on playcallersportstalk.com. You can check the links. If you subscribe, if you like, all those things will be presented to you, and you don't even have to find them. So, guys, appreciate it again. Both of you guys for stepping in and helping out tonight. Get on here and just having some conversation about the games, about what's going on in the world of sports. That's what we do, man. Sports is love. Sports is life. So until next time, guys, again, appreciate my co-host for the week for coming on with me. Shout out to my co-host, and hopefully he'll be able to get back with us and have some fun next week. But again, on the way out, we always have to remind you who we are.
Playcallers.